Hi, I'm Jerry Peterson, and I am founder of Right Side Inc. And in this presentation, we're going to walk through what are the opportunities available to small and medium-sized businesses to actually improve their productivity. So we're going to be looking at some of the options that are available. Some of them are available for without spending any money or hiring any employees. Some of them require a little bit of software. So let's take a look at these things. And we're going to start off by setting the precedence. Like our objective is to get you off the hamster wheel. So you're the target of this audience. If you feel like you're running faster and faster and you're never getting anywhere and you're constantly putting out fires and not getting the results that you think that you should be getting, you're the target of this. So let's take a look at what we're going to do. Let's ask some what if questions. So what if you could double the output of your company in 6 months? Specifically, without hiring any new people or buying a ton of software. What if, for your employees and yourself, you could automate manual repetitive tasks and get off the hamster wheel and have time to actually focus on your business? What if you knew at all times how work was progressing? What if your customers could have their questions answered 24/7 without having to have 24/7 staff available to answer those questions? What if customer onboarding was automated? What if all those nasty processes that you've got in your business that eat up your people's time could be automated? What if your people could shift from being busy to productive? And what if you, as the owner, could work on your business instead of in your business? Those are the things we want to explore in this presentation. So, the agenda for today's presentation is this. We're going to look at the hamster wheel problem. We're going to look at common pain points and bottlenecks. We're going to look at a lean, agile mindset and the three ways, which is kind of a guiding principle of the work that we do. We're going to look at the 5 ideals of work, which is the environment we need to create for our people to do their best work. We're going to look at AI in action. We're going to look at chatbots and agents. We're going to look at leadership insights. What do we have to change about how we lead our companies in order to get the best productivity? We're going to take a quick look at the ROI of AI and Agile. So, what does it look like if you do it versus when you don't? And if at the end we've got a call to action, it's like if you're interested in working with me, I'll give you my contact information and you can reach out. So, here's what we're facing with the hamster wheel problem. We've got constant firefighting. There's always an emergency that has to be taken care of, and we're running from place to place putting out the emergencies instead of executing strategic plans. So we never do our best work when we're constantly firefighting. So we need to accept that busy does not equal productive. So just because people are working, and even if they're completely overworked, that doesn't mean they're actually producing what we want them to produce. And we've got a real burnout risk happening here. So if people are constantly working beyond capacity and constantly dealing with firefighters, they're going to get tired of it eventually. And we're going to be getting to the point where they just don't care anymore and they're very likely to leave. All right, so for SMB companies, some of the pain points that we've got is we've got resource constraints, right? So we don't have unlimited resources to throw at everything. So we got to figure out how to do it with the people that we've got in most cases. We also have communication gaps. Even though we're a small company, we can have silos of information that are out there. Perhaps your finance department um, doesn't share information with the rest of the team, or your production facilities are relatively isolated and don't share information that's going on in their particular silo. We more than likely have manual processes, and these are the soul sucking things that people hate to do. They're manual, they're repetitive, they have to be done, but they don't deliver any value to our customers and they don't really help us move the company forward. And we likely have priority confusion. So if we don't know what is the most important thing to work on at any given time, we're going to do a lot of the things that really don't yield any benefit. So here's another question for you. It's like, what if I got out of the way? What if you, as the owner, got out of the way? Let's remove you as a bottleneck. And this is a quote from Edward Demings. I recommend his work if you ever want to study something. We have to acknowledge bad systems beat good people every time. And bad systems are the systems that we have put in place. So only the ownership and leadership of a company can actually change the systems. And it's more than just beats the good people, it beats out of them the willingness to actually help us move the company forward. And it puts them in a state of what we call systemic complacency. And that is evidenced by people throwing up their hands and saying, well, that's just the way it is. There's nothing I can do about it. We have, in most cases, in a large percentage of the cases, hidden productivity in your organization. And to realize it, it's not, or to overcome it, it's not about pushing people harder. It's about removing obstacles that inhibit their intrinsic motivation. There was a famous case study done at Hewlett Packard. It's more a couple of decades ago, around the time of when they released the first laser jets. And they found that their engineers only had 5% of their total available time to work on new features. And that's very restrictive. So by hiring no one and by buying new software, just by reshuffling work and making sure that they had enough time to work on the high priority and valuable items, they got that up to 40%. So they went from 5% to 40%. That's an 8 times productivity gain. Didn't hire anybody, didn't buy any new software. We just restructured their work. I don't think anybody can promise you an 8 times gain. However, we don't know really what's out there, and it's really, really typical. In fact, usually we can get more than 2 times of an improvement. So the question I have for you is, where is your productivity hiding? What would you do if you could double the output of your teams and not have to spend anything to get it? What if it was just how we structured our systems and such that we could actually leverage the work and actually get people engaged and contributing at a higher level? What would that do for your organization? All right, so we're going to look at a new way forward. We're going to look at what's called the lean agile mindset. We're going to look at some AI powered tools. We're going to look at scalable systems. So we're going to look at the things that need to be done. So lean agile mindset is just about eliminating waste, focusing on customer value, and building quality into every process. AI powered tools are our opportunity to take away all those manual repetitive tasks that everybody hates to do and are prone to error anyway, and let an AI tool manage those things and do them for us. We need to have a way to make our work visible as well. So one of the problems that leadership faces in most organizations is they're not willing to let go of decision control because they don't have systems put in place, feedback systems put in place that keep them informed of how work is progressing and where we stand on delivering things. So without that information, leaders are not likely to relinquish control of the minor decisions that happen on a day-to-day basis. And if we've got the leadership involved to making every decision within the organization, what that does is it sucks the will out of the people. If they know they can't make the decision anyway, they get to that point where they throw up their hands and say, yeah, I just have to wait until the boss makes the decision. So instead of being able to take action and be proactive, they wait for somebody else to make the decision, and that never increases our productivity. All right, so a couple of concepts that I wanted to introduce into the leadership space is intent-based leadership. So this is based on the book by Turner the Ship Around by David Marquet, which I highly recommend. And he talks about, and he did this work inside of a nuclear submarine. So there aren't many more regimented environments than a nuclear submarine. So if it can work there, it can work just about everywhere. He talked about moving from leader follower to leader leader. We need to create leaders at every level instead of passive followers awaiting instructions. Kind of what we were getting to before. It's like we don't want people just waiting for us to tell them what to do. They are the ones with the knowledge. We need them to take action and actually lead at their level. We need intent-based communication. So we need the people that are going to be executing our vision to come to us and say, I intend to do this, instead of waiting for instructions from leaders. And when they need psychological safety in order to do this. So psychological safety is a big thing in dealing with people. It's like, it just means that people need to feel free to state their opinions without fear of ramifications. They shouldn't be worried about, okay, if I say something wrong, I'm going to get chewed out, I'm going to get demoted, I'm going to get fired, whatever. They need to feel free to say, this is what I think we should do, and then you can at least discuss it. Doesn't mean you have to do it, but you should at least be aware of what their opinions are. And one of the things that's important to remember is, once you suppress that activity inside of a person, they're not likely to ever show it to you again. So we can't afford to stifle their creativity. The other leadership piece of information I wanted to pass on is an excerpt from a book by Leadership is Language by David Marquet. And these are just new rules of leadership. So we, for so many years, have operated off of the same rules that were popular during the Industrial Revolution, but we're not in the Industrial Revolution anymore. We are in the information age. So we need to operate with people who are knowledge workers and operate differently. These are not people who spend all of their day affixing a tire to a car as it comes down the line. These are people we hired to engage with their brains to figure out problems, and they don't respond well to being micromanaged. So control the clock versus obey the clock. So we need to take a close look at things. We need to take a pause periodically, decide if we're moving in the right direction, and then make pivots accordingly. We want to collaborate versus coerce. So instead of coming to your people and saying, I want you to do this, we should come to them and say, all right, here's a problem that we need to solve. You guys are the ones with the best information. Let's decide how best to address this problem. Commit versus comply means we need to inspire genuine ownership, not just compliance. So what would it be like if your people were the ones coming up with the ideas about how to solve problems out and how to better serve your clients? That's a magical transformation when we can get to it. We want complete versus continue, recognize closure and celebrate progress. So set finite goals, do work in small elements, and then, have fun a little bit when you get done with it. So we want to be improving versus proving. So we want to set a priority for growth and learning over proving competence. We don't need somebody to be the best and brightest of everything. We want everybody to be growing, and we don't want people to have to prove that they're the smartest ones in the room. And the last one is connect versus conform. We're going to build trust, show vulnerability, and flatten hierarchy. So once we can get to the point where everybody feels like they're on an equal footing, they're much more likely to actually work with us to solve problems. All right, so we need to talk a little bit about the types of work that happen within an organization. And this happens in every organization of every size, so don't feel bad about it. And sometimes we use different names for them, but there are 4 basic types of work that get done within an organization. We have our business projects, and those are the ones that we serve our customers and actually make us money. We have internal improvements. So we've got things that we do for efficiency and productivity initiatives that make everything work better within the company. We've got maintenance. So we've got facilities that need to be maintained. We've got electronics that need to be maintained. We've got systems that need to be maintained. The last one is unplanned work. And this is the one that actually kills us most of the time, because this is work we weren't expecting. We didn't plan for it. It crops up and we have to drop everything and do it. So our goal is to minimize unplanned work in an organization, because that's what really screws up what we're able to deliver within any given period. All right, we need to talk a little bit about bottlenecks. So bottlenecks are constrictions in our workflow. So every company has a workflow. There's always something that needs to be done. Doesn't mean it matter if you're building fighter jets or you're building or creating pizzas. There's always a bottleneck. So there's a trigger event. There's some series of steps that leads up to the bottleneck, and then after the bottleneck, we've got it. So the bottleneck just defines that step in our operation, which has the lowest capacity for throughput. So is where everything piles up. You can spot them easily. So work piles up there. The priorities get blurred because everybody's wanting to get their stuff through the bottleneck. Frustration rises. We get teams before the bottleneck feel unappreciated, and after it they feel starved for work. And we've got an AI and Agile solution for this. So we can identify what the bottlenecks are. We can apply AI agents to actually even out the work a little bit, keeping everybody busy as possible. And we can move things along. One of the things that I think you need to recognize as an owner is outside of the bottleneck, if we have people who have a little bit of excess capacity, that's not necessarily a bad thing. We need to be optimizing at the system level, not at the individual component level. All right, so we mentioned the three ways before, and three ways is very simple. It's just three big categories we look at for when we're looking to improve a company's performance. The first way is flow. Flow simply means how much throughput can we create within a given time. So if we're going to make an improvement, we should ask ourselves, is this improving flow through the system, whatever the system is? The second one is feedback. Feedback is our mechanism for keeping everybody informed as to how things are going. So we want fast feedback all the time. So if we're building something, we want to make sure that we keep everybody informed and especially notify people when something is observed that's incorrect, because it's a lot easier to fix things when we first notice them than to find them after they've gotten into the production. The last thing is the third way, is continuous learning. So we want to foster a continuous learning environment through controlled experimentation and calculated risk taking. So that means, and if we're going to do experimentation and risk taking, the people have to feel comfortable that if they take a risk that they think might actually improve either feedback or flow, there will no be repercussions if it does not work. So we took a risk. We then take a look at what did we learn from that risk if that one doesn't work out. And obviously there's AI principles that go along with addressing each of those as well. So in the 5 ideals of work are our next category, and this again creates the environment that we need to create for our people so that they can deliver their maximum productivity. The first principle is locality and simplicity. It simply means that when we have work for them to do they fully understand what is being asked of them? And can they do it all without having to hunt around through the company and track other people down to find out what is needed? The second is focus, flow, and joy. And this gets back to the unplanned work thing. It's like if my people are constantly being interrupted and cannot focus on the work that they're being asked to do, we make them incredibly less efficient. So we need to give them the ability to actually focus on the work on the flow, and then experience the joy of, hey, we got it done. We found out something. We tried an experiment and it worked. That's an aha moment, and that's the part that makes work fun. So the third element is improvement of daily work. It's like making work better is part of the work itself. So we should be constantly looking for opportunities to make our work better. It doesn't matter if I'm talking about, working with a hotel staff and the people that clean the rooms. It's like there's a better way to do it. It's like we've seen progression even of the room cleaners throughout my career. It's like they're much more efficient than they used to be. It takes them much less time. They do things a much better job. And it's because we got the feedback from the people involved in the work. We've talked about psychological safety a couple times. People can take risks without fear. So we need to make sure that we've got our people feeling like, hey, you are the experts and we need you to help us understand how to make your work better. The one that we miss a lot is the last one, is customer focus. So everybody working in the organization needs to understand how their work serves customers. So giving people more time by using AI agents and lean agile tools gives us a better sense of where we are in that regard. So 5 ideals of work. Best way to make our people more effective. All right, so let's take a quick look at AI in action for small and medium sized business. If we are looking to interface with our customer base and have AI do that, one of the mechanisms that we use are chatbots. They're 24/7 response to common questions. They can actually be conditioned to or trained to look up people's accounts. They can be trained to build estimates for customers if they're looking to maybe they're looking to do a kitchen remodel or something. It's like they can do those estimates with feedback from the customer. So they can do lead qualification and nurturing, and they can do post-purchase support. So we've talked a couple of times also, moving to the next one, internal AI agents. These can be viewed as virtual employees. So if you are a business owner and you're constantly stuck managing your calendar and scheduling appointments, an AI agent can do those things for you. They can monitor systems and alert to issues. They can move or consolidate your data for financial reporting. They can transcribe and summarize meetings. In fact, that's probably the first thing that I would advise people to use an AI agent to do, is get one on your meeting so that you don't have to take notes and you can get a list of what the action items are at the end. Generative AI is probably the one that most people are most familiar with, and that is things like ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot. So they can use to be used to draft proposals and marketing content. They can create training materials and documentation. They can generate code for business applications. So if you're actually in developing applications, they can help you write the code and make sure that there are fewer errors in there. And they can produce visual assets and design. Um, you can reduce the time to create documents from days or weeks into hours or minutes using these tools. And the more you use them, the better they will get, because they will begin to understand what you want them to do. All right, we talked about the ROI of AI and Agile. So here's just some basic information. So we've got cost savings, reduction in administrative overhead, fewer errors requiring rework, and lower opportunity costs for missed deadlines. We've got revenue growth. We get faster response to market opportunities, improved customer satisfaction, and ability to handle more business with existing staff. So wouldn't it be nice not to have to hire more people and track them and pay them benefits and do all of the things that we have to do with employees, but we could allow them to do a higher level of work and deliver us more profit and more revenue. Now, I will say, if you're going to do this well, the people need to that you're assisting, are your employees, need to share in the revenue gains that you get. So don't just think that you get to do this and everybody else remains the same. If you want them to be a partner with you in your business or contribute to your business and take ownership of their parts of the business, they need to realize some of the benefit of the productivity increases that you've got. And that comes down to talent retention. So if we've got people that are happier doing what they're doing, they're being more creative, they're feeling like they are owners of the work and receiving parts of the revenue, you're not going to have turnover. All right, so what do we do to get started? So I would start off with find out what's your biggest time drain. Now, the one thing I would do ahead of this, and this is standard consulting problem solving 101. Sit down and think about, and if you want me to help you with this, I can help you. Um, what is your vision for the company? Throw out all the restrictions, throw out the budgets, and think, if I could do whatever I wanted and there were no restrictions, what would I like my business to look like in 5 years? This gives us the opportunity to start to build a roadmap. Having that information, we can then look at, where are we currently? What are we doing now? what's the first step I can take in the direction toward meeting or realizing that vision? It's probably not going to happen in 6 months to get to your vision, but we're talking about a 5 year plan. But what are the steps that we can do? Well, if I got to the point where I could double my productivity in 6 months, which in most cases, is very doable, um, maybe it's blowing it up and becoming, maybe I want 10 times my productivity in 5 years. So again, get your vision, start with one small process, identify what are the steps we can take on the road. We're going to apply agile experimentation. So we're going to, in short cycles, we're going to test things out, see if they work. And then if they do, fine, we'll proceed. If they don't, we will pivot. And then we're going to train and empower your team to be more effective, to use AI as an enhancer to make them more efficient. And then we're going to measure results and scale successes. So that's basically the battle plan that we would go to war with. And I would simply say to you, it's time to get off the hamster wheel. If you're chasing your tail constantly, if you feel like you're running as fast as you can and you're not getting anywhere, it's time to get off the hamster wheel. So simply follow the methods that we've talked about. If you feel like you need assistance, certainly call me and we can work through finding a process for you. All right. If you do want to get to my information, here's my information. You can use this at any time to reach out, and we can build a plan. Thank you for your time.